Hi everyone, Vinita Pappas here, and today I'm going to paint a watercolor landscape of a vineyard. So I start off in the sky area, and I'm putting in a gray color that I made using yellow ochre, cerulean blue, and a little bit of burnt sienna. Now this gray color is going to become part of the clouds. For the sky color, I'm just using cerulean blue, and I paint this blue color around the cloud shapes. As I move closer to the horizon line, I just need to lighten the color a little bit. And I can paint all the way down to the horizon line. I just need to be careful to paint around the roof shape and also around the grapes. Now to move on to the foreground. So I'm using the same colors, yellow ochre and cerulean blue, and I can begin on the foreground. I wanted a nice green color in front of the building because the building is going to be yellow ochre, so that'll give it a nice contrast in color. And then I can paint the foreground area. Again, I'm using yellow ochre and cerulean blue. As I move closer to the bottom, I just want to use more pigment, so more paint and less water will give me a richer color. And I also want to make sure there's plenty of texture in that foreground. I'm mixing up a darker color using cerulean blue and burnt sienna, and maybe even a little ultramarine blue to get it dark enough. And I want this to be a shadow area in the foreground. Now this is actually a compositional element. It's connecting the left side of the painting with the right side of the painting, and it also is adding interest to the foreground. And the last step is just to add little bits of texture here and there with the dark color. And once I'm finished with that, then that completes step one, and I can let this dry completely. Okay, now it's all dry, and I can begin on the background mountain. I'm painting this pretty carefully because I need to paint around the grape shapes. So it's okay to take my time. And now that that's done, I can move on to the trees. So for the trees, I'm using very similar colors here, yellow ochre, cerulean blue, a little bit of ultramarine blue to make it darker. And then I can begin the tree shapes. If you'd like to try this painting on your own, you can go to my website and download a packet of information that will help you do just that. I have a packet available that has the reference photo, a photo of my sketch, a worksheet that describes the process, including the colors that I use and the steps that I take, and also a photo of the finished painting. So all you have to do is go to my website, which is www.create38.com. Now that I have the basic shapes of the trees in, I just want to put in some shadow colors. So this is a little darker color, and I'm just dropping this in here and there to give a little bit of variety in those trees. And I can start putting in a few tree trunks here and there. And then I want to add some shadows. So just little bits and pieces here and there to connect those shapes together and give the illusion that there is a lot going on up there. Okay, so now that we're done with the trees, I can move on to the grapes. So at the tops of the grapes, I add in a lighter green, and this green is also a little more yellow than what I've used before. And then I darken it for the middle section of the grapes. And then I go even a little darker for the very bottom of the grapes. You'll notice that I have a little scrap piece of watercolor paper taped to the bottom of my painting. This is a really good it's a good tool to have because you can test out the colors before you put them on the painting to make sure that they're the right color and the right value. I put in these two trees that are behind the grapes. You'll see them in the reference photo. They're not quite this large, but this helps to balance the painting. So again, it's a compositional aspect. And now on to the building. So we have the red roof. It's going to be lighter where the sun's hitting it, and then on the other side it needs to be darker where it would be in shadow. And now for the shadow side of the building, going with kind of a darker yellow color, more like a burnt sienna color. And for the side where the sun is hitting it, it's basically just yellow ochre that's been watered down. For the last step, I just need to add in a couple of tree trunks, and then the painting is done.